It's time. Oh yeah, Christian Bale Batman voice. And we deserve it, because we're going to be watching two veteran heavyweights today. And we're going to start off this contest on one of the biggest macro maps around, Eternal Empire. Our German Protoss player for Team Big is ShoWTimE. Fun fact, ShoWTimE has performed all kills 3 years in a row in Nation Wars. That is what you call a graveyard. And he's going for the new trendy Reaper block positioning for his gateway. His opponent is keeping things a little more classic, blocking off the ramp. You know our Terran player from South Korea playing for Dragon Phoenix Gaming. Give it up for Cure! Cure caused a ton of buzz at the start of the year when he was virtually unbeatable in every online tournament. Incidentally, this tournament happens to be online. That was a gate and go for the Protoss, by the way. His scout is live. The refinery finishes and Cure immediately puts 3 SCVs on it. Just one worker on the gas for ShoWTimE. Those Reapers cost 50 gas and you need it fast. ShoWTimE's scout has already arrived. Is he in time to cause some mischief? We'll be back to answer that question right after we witness the core. No, he's too late to stop the racks. This map's just a little bit too big. But maybe he can delay the command center. Cure sees the threat. He's putting 2 SCVs on the job. That's gonna make the environment pretty unsafe for a young probe. I checked, that little guy's only 7,500 years old. In Protoss years, he's a baby. There's our command center going down on the low ground. ShoWTimE's gonna match him, macro macro. A detail which is not gonna be lost on Cure's scout. Better get those Aligulac rankings out. At the time of recording, Cure's ranked number 4 in the world, ShoWTimE number 15. Like I said, 2 heavy hitters. Reaper's out, on his way. The 2 passing scouts try to hug one another but wind up phasing through. Their worker love has been denied. Oh, check the placement on Cure's factory. This is not your grandfather's 1-1-1 build. We'll have to keep an eye on the significance of this innovation. The Adept is out just as the Reaper arrives. And ShoWTimE's gonna immediately make a Stalker behind it. Who wins this initial duel? Cure drops his grenade and bugs out. Oh, but ShoWTimE's not chasing him down. He's shading away. He's going on the attack. That means the defense is delegated to the Stalker, but he's not quite here yet. It's open hunting season on probes. Cure partakes in the buffet and gets the first blood. And he's gonna escape the Stalker too. Oh, notably, ShoWTimE is making a second Stalker to go with his warp gates. I'm not sure if this is extra defense or we're gonna see some early aggression. Here comes the Adept. The lone SCV evacuates and there's nothing at the mineral line for the Adept to find. Cure made a Marine before Reactor, so he has one, but he's not bringing it down. Oh, a Stalker's coming to reinforce that Adept, which means the defense is once again delegated to a unit still in production. Grenade in the mineral line, but now the Stalker is here to chase him away. Is he gonna get away again? Cure's like, if you don't leave units at home, I'm just gonna keep ducking in. Cure has finally got enough units to repel that Adept. Here comes a Hellion and 3 Marines. But what they don't know is there's a reinforcing Stalker. At this early stage of the game, that Stalker represents a pretty big bag of hit points. This is like shades of Wings of Liberty, when Stalkers were early game bullies. ShoWTimE is happy to trade shields for hit points. Even happier if it's a dead Marine. Or a Hellion. Oh, but the Widowmine should be enough to send Protoss packing. Meanwhile, back at home, ShoWTimE started a robo facility. But that's not his original tech choice. He's already finished the Twilight Council, and he's researching Blink. Meanwhile, back at the Chateau de Terran, we've got another unreactored Widowmine and a medevac. Cure has foregone the obligatory reactor switch. The barracks built it and kept it. How selfish. But this lets him set up a Widowmine drop at the 4.5 minute mark. The medevac is packing it on its way. Did the Adept holding the watchtower see it? Well, the Adept's shade certainly did, but did ShoWTimE? Was he looking? Or will his first notification be detonations in his mineral line? Protoss is already halfway to his 3rd, but will he be ready for what's coming? That gang of Marines chases down and kills that Adept. But she may have been the difference maker. ShoWTimE knew to launch a hallucinated Phoenix, and he spots it. And he gets his Stalkers in place. He kills the medevac, but the mines are down. Oh, but there's more to this attack. The Reapers use this moment to sneak back into the main. And that Marine gang has been sent over to the 3rd. ShoWTimE has to warp in a pair of Stalkers to deal with that Reaper. while his original stalkers will clean up the widow mines. And the next tick box on their to-do list is to chase off that gang of Marines. He's lost 4 probes, but I still think that was a very successful defense for the Protoss. Kira invested a lot into this, and he knows his Marines are never going to make it home, so he's going to try to get as much value out of them as he can. But the 2 stalkers from the main are going to arrive and deal with those Marines. And ShoWTimE might sense a window to counterattack. Kira has finished his 3rd, but he might not have enough to defend. He's got 1 tank, 5 Marines, and a Raven, that's it. But he's not letting up on the Marine and tank production. If he keeps it pumping, he might be okay. ShoWTimE started a double forge and zealot leg upgrade. Oh, I do like Kira's positioning with that siege tank. Or not, ShoWTimE's gonna stay out of range of it. No, he goes in. He didn't see it, his observer wasn't there yet. He smokes an SCV, but that's about all he's gonna get unless he wants to eat more tank fire. ShoWTimE's gonna circle around again, but by the time he gets there, there's gonna be a 2nd tank in position. Will it siege up? Oh, Kira's looking to seal up that entrance. ShoWTimE's gonna accept some more tank splash in return for taking out that SCV. Meanwhile, back at the Plaza de la Protoss, we've got 1-1 underway and a gateway explosion. And a battle duck. Let's not miss that this time, Zugswang. That's a Templar archive, by the way. For Terran's tech, we've got stim and combat shields, along with 1-1 as well. I love that pause when everyone stops punching for a moment so they can tech up. Oh, but Kira's looking to sneak in the next punch already. He means to slip his Raven in for some mischief. Oh, but ShoWTimE sees it. He's got an observer there. Oh, if Kira's not careful, he's gonna donate a free Raven to go with a set of steak knives. I can't look. I mean that pejoratively. Of course I'm gonna look. Kira gets the pullback. He survives. And the Raven just glares at the observer who gave him away. Oh, more than that, he's gonna drop an auto turret. ShoWTimE's not gonna move the observer. Oh, he knows it's out of range. Oh, a bird shows up to mock the auto turret. Squawk! You're useless. Blow yourself up. Oh, so he does. That's so mean. I hate avian cyber bullies. And you should too. We just hit the 7-minute mark and ShoWTimE is having a great game on the resources lost tab. It's 2-1 in his favor and that means he's rolling. But with Kira's non-stop bioproduction, he's got the lead in terms of army. And thanks to the old mule hammer, he's out-mining his opponent too. ShoWTimE's defense has been masterful, but it's not getting the job done. But not only has he added immortals to his army, he is now researching Storm. He simply has to have some kind of splash if he's going to deal with Terran Bio. And we're hitting that moment when 1 billion upgrades complete at once. At least one, if not both of our players are going to decide they've got a window and make a move. Yes, Kira's going for it. Stim is done, Storm is done, 1-1 is done for both players. There's about to be carnage and the first victim's gonna be that poor stalker at the watchtower. No, he actually blinks away. Incredible awareness by ShoWTimE. Not only does he know the attack is on, he saves the stalker. And he's gonna start his 4th anyway. Ah, that would because he's riding out to meet him. It's a showdown in the blood-red desert. The bio stims and ShoWTimE pulls back. Guardian Shield flares on as he tries to stop the mines from planting. There's an interference matrix on a Templar, but 2 storms go off. It's too much to ask 1 Raven to shut down 4 Templar. Still, ShoWTimE's gonna pull back, which is gonna give Kira a chance to go after that 4th. Will the Widow Mines be able to dig in? Not if the Zealot Charge has anything to say about it. And they do not. The Widow Mines skewer the Zealots. But the Protoss follow-up is Immortals and Archons. It's power overwhelming, and Kira is in retreat. Technically, Kira's got the bigger army, but it sure doesn't feel like it right now. Especially since ShoWTimE's bringing over a Warp Prism. More storms go down, and you can bet Kira's happy that he's finishing his Ghost Academy. Until he can neutralize those storms, ShoWTimE's got an answer for that bio. It wasn't that bad an engagement for Kira, though. He's catching up on the Resources Lost tab. But it does feel like this was a significant win for ShoWTimE. He's gonna hold his 4th, and he's gonna potentially catch up to the Terran on mining rate. Something tells me that this Marauder's not gonna escape as well as the Blink Stalker. Nope. Kira is indeed adding ghosts, and he's researching Enhanced Shockwave. That's an upgrade that increases the Ghost EMP round radius by 0.5, i.e. a bigger circle to whack those Templar and wipe out shields. Kira's gonna try to answer with a 4th. I really think he's gonna want that to be a fortress, because I don't think ShoWTimE means to let him have it. Kira's got a nice position at the top of his ramp, but there are no tanks this time, just Widow Mines. Protoss is going to show patience and warp in additional units. It's gonna give him the supply lead while his lone zealot scout maps out what's going on. It also gives him the seconds he needs to finish his 2-2 upgrade. And now he is the Ayatollah of rock and rolla. Cure's gonna need his ghost to be on point here. ShoWTimE's actually working on a backup plan. He started a robotic support base. But forget that, it's attack! There's carnage everywhere. Protoss hits before Terran has his 2-2. The planetary fortress isn't ready, and there's just too much Protoss firepower. There's no SCV pull, and the zealots slaughter the mineral line. 18 SCVs die, and they're unable to prop up the fortress. The fourth best player in the world has lost his fourth. Terran's gonna regroup at his third. He's got a depot line that makes it hard for Protoss to bust inside. But he's got to get an army behind it. Vikings show up, but they're not going to be an immediate help. Cure's either anticipating that Colossus switch or he's hunting for that warp prism. ShoWTimE starts his 5th, and he's even started his 3-3 upgrades. If Protoss goes up 2 bases, the resource lead could be insurmountable for Cure. ShoWTimE doesn't actually have to finish this. The onus is now on Cure to find a way to do something before he falls too far behind. Protoss is going to leave a zealot at that watchtower. That's been a trophy all game long. ShoWTimE hits 80 workers. He is humming. Cure's gone back to producing medevacs. His army's dependent on stim. He needs to be able to support it. Oh yeah, Cure heard my grousing. He's going to step out and see if he can get something done. But ShoWTimE did not like my memo about how all he has to do is defend. I think he's looking to attack as well. The watchtower guard is slain. ShoWTimE clearly knows about Cure's army. Decision time. Does he hunt it down or does he go for Terran's less defended base? This could be a bit of a ships passing in the night scenario. Yes, this is going to be a little bit base racy. Protoss is going to try to break the depot wall. Those Vikings are like, dude, where's your Colossus? ShoWTimE's like, I'll tell you after I severely supply block you. Terran has to expend a stim to rush in with his own attack. But it's a slaughter to the north. ShoWTimE has taken control of the offense, and he's warping in defense to support his photon cannons. It's GG from Cure. He sees the writing on the wall. ShoWTimE takes game 1. Okay, so that was a great start for ShoWTimE. He's in fine form. Now I'm keen to see what adjustments Cure might bring, and I'd like to see more of that mass marine no reactor switch build he's got going on. But before we dive into game 2, can I just soapbox about something real quick that kind of came up? I'm not sure what I said exactly, but I think I mouthed off and stepped in it a bit when I zoomed in on the bird taunting the auto turret. I know I live for snide remarks, but just in case I hit something too close to home for some young person out there, I just wanted to say that in another life, I spent a little time helping out with a teen helpline and some suicide hotline stuff, and I totally get that cyberbullying and just plain old-fashioned bullying are all too real. Some kids and even many adults suffer through a lot more crap than anyone deserves, to say nothing of physical abuse, substance abuse, and depression and all the other junk that's out there today. So if you find yourself in a dark place, and I hope you're not right now because you're watching Starcraft, which is perpetually awesome, but if you do, just know that with 4 seconds of Googling, you can find a bunch of different official help numbers you can call or text. Do a little research. You want to text a real helpline, not some catfishing rando, but if you're hurting, give it a try. And if the first person you try doesn't understand you, try another one. I guarantee you, somewhere somebody's been through it and has come out the other side. Somebody gets what you're dealing with and gets you, whatever it is. Before you give up, take some tries, because maybe you can find that person. Okay, sorry for the off-topic messaging. I'm done, I promise. How about I make it up to you with... We are back, and let me just say, I don't have Starcraft fever. I've got the plague, and this man is the cure! But if you prefer to watch episodes of cable shows like Dexter, Weeds, or Homeland, you'll need to turn your television to ShoWTimE! Okay, so we've got another high ground pylon out of ShoWTimE, likely to set up that gateway for a Reaper block positioning. Looks like this is a trend I'm just gonna have to get used to. But I'm more interested to see if Kier's going to show us more of his reactorless switch 111 build. Game 1 had to feel pretty good for ShoWTimE. When these two match up, Kier's consistently been the victor. Kier 2-0'd ShoWTimE at the last Homestory Cup, and at the IEM Katowice after that. ShoWTimE could not have been happy to see him in his group. And it was a gate and go for the Protoss. He did a quick check for proxies at his natural and then headed straight for the Terran base. Since he didn't head direct, it's a pretty limited window for him to try to attack that building SCV. And it looks like we're going to see the core go up before the Nexus again. I don't know how much a difference that ultimately turns out to make, but it's taken some getting used to. Oh, here's something else that's different. That's not a Reaper coming out of the Terran racks. That's a Marine. Can I call this Reaper Expand sans Reaper? I guess I can if ShoWTimE blocks Kier from getting that command center down. Oh no, he's chased him off. I think he's going to see that Marine pop. Oh yes, he's going to get shot at. That makes it hard to miss. I think this actually takes a little bit of pressure off of the Protoss. He doesn't have to immediately defend against that Reaper who's hunting for probe kills. And in fact, there's no adept for ShoWTimE right now. He just starts his warp gates and maybe saves his minerals for his initial tech choice. I mean, why not? Last game we saw a Twilight Council out of ShoWTimE, and this time, it's Twilight Council again. Kier's got a reactor up on his racks, and once again, he's using it to pump Marines. The factory's on its way, but it's going to have to build its own add-on, it looks like. And ShoWTimE is now chrono boosting that adept. So it's the same as we're used to, he's just able to tech a little bit faster. And we've got this wayward probe that looks like it might be up to no good. Or maybe he's just stashing it, who can say? The first adept is done. Oh, hold on, I think Kier's pushing out with those Marines. He got 3 pretty fast, and maybe he wants... No, they're just patrolling the lower ramp. Which is what the adept is doing. Oh, ShoWTimE with the hidden pylon, could it be? It is a Dark Shrine. It's gonna be a 3-minute Dark Shrine, ladies and gentlemen. If Kier doesn't save some scans, he's gonna be dead. He's got no detection. He's got a Hellion about to pop and a whole bunch of Marines, though. And his starport's almost finished. ShoWTimE's adding a second adept. It looks like he's doing everything he can to prevent Kier from getting a scout off as to what he's really up to. It takes 71 seconds to warp into Dark Shrine. For perspective, that's the exact amount of time it takes to build a Nexus or a command center. ShoWTimE's actually adding one of his warp gates at his hidden pylon location. That's going to let him warp in units there 3.6 seconds faster. Oh, Kier's Hellion shows up. There's no third here. He knows that means something. And double adepts that just guard the entryway and don't attack? Either there's some tech hiding up in the main or natural, or this is one elaborate bluff. Note that Kier's actually going for a Banshee and Cloak of his own. So far this game's all cloak, no detection. ShoWTimE has started a robo though. Oh, the Dark Shrine is finishing. It's timed out with that gateway. As much as I loves me an opening warp gate ceremony, proxy warp gate ceremony's even better. And it's an excuse to let us see the Dark Templar arrive. There they go! Is it just me or is a double-bladed scythe like the most impractical weapon ever conceived? Oh, Kier's Hellion's looking for proxies and he's gonna find it. He's gotta know what's up, but has he been saving scan energies? Oh, it's a door trap! The Marines ambush the first Dark Templar. The second one is getting kills though. He's got 3 SCV kills and now he's gonna try to hide in the corner. Oh, he goes back and kills a 4th. There's a scan! 4 SCVs and 2 scans for his investment thus far. That's not great. ShoWTimE's gonna try again. He warps in one more Dark Templar. The Banshee is headed for his proxy. And Kier has started a Raven. The Banshee's gonna go to work on the proxy. He's gonna hit the pylon and just power it right down. This is gonna have to be ShoWTimE's last proxy DT. Kier saw the blur. He's looking for it. His Marines hunted down with a 3rd scan. ShoWTimE just barely gets an SCV. And the Raven's just about done. This looks bad for ShoWTimE. He's going to try to transition by building a 3rd. ShoWTimE's behind, especially on Army. But Kier lost a lot of mule energy and he is down on SCVs. If ShoWTimE can survive, he can get back into this. Oh, but Kier's not going to give him any time. Look at that game sense. He knows he's got a window. He takes his oversized army and pulls the boys. I think that's 7 SCVs. ShoWTimE's marshalling what he's got. It looks pretty meager. Normally you hear me going, shield battery, but with tanks in this army, I'm not so sure that would work. There is an immortal though, and he's just about to finish the zealot leg upgrade. But there are a lot of Marines in that army. Even without any upgrades, that's just a lot of firepower. There actually hasn't been a tech lab on Kier's barracks the whole game. ShoWTimE's pulled his whole army back to buy time. He's gonna sack a warp gate and maybe even his rowboat. Kier's using the time to build bunkers on his doorstep. ShoWTimE knows he has to go. Oh, Kier's going after Protoss's initial pylon. That one's critical. It powers just about everything. ShoWTimE hits the tanks from behind. His stalkers focus down the Raven. Can he get it? He gets it. But those Marines know how to kill an immortal. ShoWTimE's desperately trying to get some warp gates up. Kier's adding new tanks and they're gonna polish off that immortal. ShoWTimE has observers to spot that Banshee, but only a single stalker to actually shoot it. Terran has position over the natural and bunkers to retreat to if he needs it. ShoWTimE's gonna have to dig deep if he means to survive the next minute. He's gonna try a defensive Dark Templar. Kier's only detection will be scanned. Oh my god, SCVs have snuck into the main. They're going after that critical first pylon. Kier has the scan. The DTs are not gonna be the answer for ShoWTimE. He's gonna try speed lots instead. No, the Banshee just adds too much firepower. Oh my god, the SCV's gonna get that pylon. Forget the fact that the Nexus is gonna get blown apart. That pylon's going down! A single SCV's gonna unpower 4 buildings at once. There's the Nexus fireworks at the natural. And there's the power down! Everything goes dark on Nightshade. ShoWTimE's army has crumbled and he GG's. Fun game. Okay, here's my crazy take. I'm not in Kier's head, but here's my interpretation of the thinking. Kier deliberately skips the Reaper. He knows ShoWTimE's too good not to notice. ShoWTimE reacts by the book. If his opponent can't scout, he's free to unload one of Protoss's most deadly weapons, Dark Templar. As soon as Kier sees the lack of the third Nexus, he knows what's coming. He doesn't need to see it, and he can guess exactly when. He's practiced this build, and he knows how to defend it. He's only got 2 bases to cover, and plans to have a lot of Marines to do it with. So he's watching for the blur. He deliberately leaves his depots at the top of the ramp down to bait the Dark Templar in. At the last second, he raises them, and then unleashes the band of Marines waiting in ambush at the top. And then he cuts off his retreat with Marines from below. Kier clearly didn't need the mules he lost from all the scan energy. He did that whole thing off of 1 barracks. That saves you some dough. I mean, this is taking 1-1-1 builds to a new level. He actually stayed at 1-1-1 the whole game. If his attack failed, ShoWTimE would have had a ton more production, a better economy, and a result have been able to power a much stronger army the next time they met. But let's face it, Kier didn't fail. He didn't even come close. Lastly, a footnote and a confession. Once again, I committed the unspeakable crime of letting the first blood happen off screen. While I was watching Kier set that awesome door trap, ShoWTimE got the first blood slaying an SCV with that second Dark Templar that went to the natural expansion. Well, that gives us a tied series, which means we get a... Game 3. Back we are for the rubber match. Have you heard who's the current ESL European Weekly Cup champion? Hint, he beat out Hero Marine. It was ShoWTimE! Opening depot goes down at the ramp for Terran, and it's a very tight pylon for ShoWTimE. His opponent made over $100,000 laying waste to pretenders for the throne. It's Kier! And here comes ShoWTimE's gateway. So, no Reaper block, no wall, just speed. It may be subtle, but it's very econ. Whereas Kier's racks is classic defensive. It was a gate and go for ShoWTimE. He's going to check for proxies at his natural, but not his third. He wants to get over to the Terran base as soon as possible. That probe's racing across our map simulacrum. A big fancy word that means a slight, unreal, or superficial likeness or semblance. Of course, most of us just know it as a really cool RPG spell. I'm a little bit curious to see if Kier's gonna pass on the Reaper again. If he does, we might have to report him to the Guild of Official Starcraft Standards. Once again, ShoWTimE's probe is a little bit too late to do anything to stop that rat, but he can block that expansion, which is why Cure is going to dispatch a second SCV to deal with him. And so it is time for the traditional dance of the mouse clicks. ShoWTimE going core before Nexus again, while Cure's SCV scout passes the halfway mark on the map. Terran's just about got his 400 minerals. That probe's about to become officially annoying. It has no shields left though, it's risking death. ShoWTimE opts to pull it out and concedes the parking space to Cure. You never want to take Cure's parking space. You just don't. Cure is making a Reaper, by the way. That previous game where you saw a Terran player pass on the Reaper, that was just a dream. Never happened. Core completes for Protoss and it's an instant adept. With the chrono boost. There's a second gasp, but we don't see what the tech choice is yet. ShoWTimE knows he's under scout. Factory goes down for Cure. And once again, it's in a non-traditional, non-reactor switching type position. He also opted for that initial Marine instead of a reactor again. Reaper's gonna arrive at the natural. Looks like he's gonna hang around. ShoWTimE has an adept, but he wants a fresh shade before he comes down to engage. And once again, he's making a stalker behind this adept. That tells me this adept's real goal is to harass, not defend. That's for his four-legged friend. But hey, if that Reaper really wants to die, it can be arranged. Is ShoWTimE gonna prove me wrong and keep that adept at home? No, here he goes. Or at least the Shade does. Cure hears it and thinks that's his signal to double back to the Reaper jump point. But the aforementioned four-legged friend is there. Good reaction by Cure, he escapes the trap. Meanwhile, there's only a single Marine to defend the approaching adept, but two more are on the way. Protoss shades inside, he sees some opportunity, he's going for SCVs. It's a first blood! And he's gonna get away too. I don't think he's gonna get back inside without dying though. Oh, Cure's mixing things up with the Cyclone. No he is not, he's just switched back to a tank. I think the Cyclone may have been a fake to show the adept scout. Sort of like, if you make an Oracle, this is what awaits you. But really, I'm making tanks to splat your stalkers. That and non-stop Marine production again. ShoWTimE tries to shade up for a look at the main, but the factory remains outside the Shade's vision. With no intel, ShoWTimE opts for a third, but that's not all he's got. He's warped in a Twilight Council and he's started a robo as well. Cure, on the other hand, has built himself a second Rax with a tech lab to research STIM, and he's only just making his starport now. And through it all, double Marine. This is how you play Terran if you like the movie Starship Troopers. We could build auto turrets and widow mines, but nope, we're sending in the humans. Those humans are trying to flush out the adept, and the Reaper's looking for another chance to dive in. ShoWTimE's pulled that adept, he knows there's a hunting party out there. And instead he's rallying his stalkers forward, everything's happening at once. The Reaper slips in undetected, the stalker has been pulled. Looks like he's gonna catch the Blink researching at the Twilight Council. No Reaper can resist an empty main, it's like crack, he goes in and drops a grenade. Those beautiful seconds before Protoss warps something in are like Christmas. The adept comes home and his stalker warps in, but not before the Reaper gets a probe kill. And is he gonna get away too? He races for a jump point. Oh, but Blink completes and the stalker blinks down after him and kills him off. Cure's definitely live to that upgrade. Possibly because he was too busy microwing at home, the stalkers have not attacked. He might be rethinking his assault. There is a tank in excellent position. It's backed by Marauders actually. That's a ferocious defense. Cure's got a significant army lead. He's gonna donate his factory's reactor to his starport and then his factory's gonna build itself a new one. ShoWTimE's force is discovered. There's just too much Terran. Kiting is the only way those stalkers can engage that force. ShoWTimE knows it. But he does bleed off a couple Marines. Hold it. Cure's got something. It's a surprise medevac boosting with a pair of widow mines. There is nothing defending that third. Even still, Cure's waiting for something. The cooldown on his boost, that's what. Here he comes. Drops one at the third. He's circling for the natural, but Protoss does have units there. Cure's probably going to want to opt for the main instead. The medevac drops to yellow as he takes the sentry shots, but he will make it to the main. He sees the gateway explosion, drops his payload, and boosts out of there. Meanwhile, here comes Cure's force right down the middle. And he's building his third direct on the low ground at the same time. Ooh, the Widow Mines are tying up 2 of ShoWTimE's mineral fields. Protoss is actually trying to mine in between the cooldowns. Talk about working in the DMZ. I'm kind of worried for ShoWTimE. There's just so many Marines, and there's no splash. I mean, he hasn't really had a chance to get it, but at some point you have to have it or you just die to the Marines. First things first, he's got to clear out those Widow Mines. But no sooner does that finish than Cure comes again. Another medevac, this time fully loaded with Marines. Oh, but Cure's Blink Stalkers are there. That medevac was never repaired, and it goes down fast. Only 2 Marines managed to make it out, but they are not long for this world. ShoWTimE just finishes his first forge, which he's using for +1 attack, and he's warping in a second. But Cure's already finished +1 attack. He's going to reuse that same engineering bay to start his +1 armor. And at the same time, it's going to be an all-new medevac with another pair of Widow Mines. This one's got full health. Oh, ShoWTimE with a clutch hallucinated scout. How does he do that? He's been sniffing these out all series long. Oh, Cure sees risk. He's going to pull back. I really like that. Just because you set it up doesn't mean you got to follow through. Oh, Templar Archives, aka Battle Duck. I'm wondering if that's for Archons or he's going to try to get himself some splash with Storm. Oh, look how Protoss is sending forces north to deal with that medevac. The Cure's actually pulled it back and reunited it with his main force, which is coming down the middle again. It is indeed Storm for Battle Duck. That's going to be essential. ShoWTimE knows he has to chrono boost that like mad if he intends to survive this next Terran assault. ShoWTimE's making a warp prism. Cure's making, like, everything. Cure has the bigger, better army. But ShoWTimE has the defender's advantage, and if he can hold, he might be able to come out of this with a tech advantage too. Those Stalkers are way out of position, but they can blink into the battle if need be. Protoss adding more gateways, but Terran's making bios 7 units at a time. ShoWTimE picking off those Widow Mines, a good start. And he's going to retreat up his ramp. He's waiting for Storm to finish. Or maybe his Warp Prism, I don't know. He knows he needs something. A red shirt Marauder is going to explore going up the ramp. But force fields are going to shut that down. Except for the skinny Marines who took their diet pills. They fit through. ShoWTimE showing some poise as he lets Terran poke at a gateway he really doesn't need. Storm is still a dozen seconds away. Cure might be eyeing that robo if he can get to that. ShoWTimE does have 4 Templar hiding in a warp prison. Storms versus splits are going to be critical. There are no ghosts this game to shut the Templar down. Warp gate falls, Terran's got Widow Mines planted on the ramp. ShoWTimE's going to go anyway. He doesn't want to abandon the high ground. Apparently it was very important to Obi-Wan Kenobi for some reason. Templar drop, Storm hits! Oh, the Warp Prism is gone! The Warp Prism sailed right over the Marines! ShoWTimE lost all his Templar! He's gonna clear out that tank, but the Marines are gonna be dominant! The DPS on that Stim Marine Marauder backed by medevacs is so potent! ShoWTimE's gonna remake that Warp Prism. His 1-1 is completing, but the bio's like 3 rows deep. ShoWTimE's gonna throw some Zealots at it to try to slow it down. He can't stim forever. Or can he? Cure goes right up the ramp. He kills everything. Marauder bonus damage versus... Oh, it's GG. That's a series. Cure is the victor. I'm testing out new victory tunage. You should hear the Zerg one. Okay, just 3 incredibly deep thoughts to finish this series off. Number 1, ShoWTimE may have lost this series, but his ability to sniff out and neutralize drops is on an absolutely elite level. Love watching that guy. Ever since BlizzCon, ShoWTimE has been looking so good. Sort of that guy who comes so close yet so far. I know Cure won the series, so this is a weird time to mention this, but one of our viewers, James, who happens to be an awesome Zerg player, has made a very bold prediction. He has declared that ShoWTimE will win a major tournament in 2020. I'm going to be watching for it, and if he's right, he gets all the props. If any of you out there have long odds predictions for Dark Horse tournament winners, and you have the stones to go on record with it, please leave it in the comments below in this video. I'd love to make a future video showcasing all the Nostradamus type calls of our viewership. We are small, but we are mighty. Number 2, Hubris time here, but for me, when your opponent goes Mass Marine, while we can agree Storm is a perfectly lethal form of splash damage, right now, I personally am attracted to Colossi, just because it forces Terran to move away from Medivacs and to make Vikings. Every Viking made ties up the starport and clogs up supply, and eventually those Vikings become easy prey for the Blink Stalkers. And once the Vikings render Colossi inefficient purchases, it's easy to go into disruptors. Well, not easy for a ham-fisted player like me to actually aim the disruptors, but easy to transition to, especially if you're at a pro level. Game 1 was a good example of this. Look how much weaker Kier was when he made Vikings. Number 3. Kier's build where he grabs that second Rax really lets him get an earlier stim. That's huge, and Protoss is going to have to learn to adapt to that. And that's all I have to say about this series, except live life, because nobody wants to die and hold position. To continue your StarCraft journey, Nova advises you to click the video in the upper rectangle. But Kerrigan warns you to watch your 6 and click the video in the bottom rectangle. Or you can stimpack your StarCraft experience. Subscribe to Zugzwang StarCraft. Just hit the circle. From my base to yours, Zugzwang out.